Let's talk anime. Hello and welcome to Brandon's Discuss Anime, a 15 plus Reckless Amoeba podcast. I am your host, Brandon Horvath, and with me are my co-hosts, Brandon Falinger.
Hello there. Yes, it is I. I did not forget to this one.
And in our third seat, replacing Ryan this week, Chris Wozniak.
What is happening, gentlemen?
And
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Glad to have you.
Ale Yakta Esto. This podcast is approved.
I'm just gonna say, cool. I didn't know that we were on trial as to whether or not we were approved.
It appears I've passed the test already without saying a word.
So, Brandon, I've brought this up in the past before, but you may have recognized this name. Gari Gari-kun.
Oh no.
They have...
What is this?
It is a Japanese ice candy, or popsicle, with a very interesting flavor coming out April, or the month that we're recording this. Rice soda.
I'm looking now at some of these flavors, and they all seem to be outrageous.
Here's the thing, right? Like, I need to go and look at these. Give me like 1 second to look at these flavors. Gari Kari-kun. Let me see here.
I'm gonna be straight up, dude. Japan just knows how to design candy to make me want to try it.
But when they say soda, it's not cola. It's more of a citrusy...
Oh yeah, this guy.
Yeah. More of a citrusy ramune flavor. But apparently they're going to add the flavor of rice to that?
So, like, you tell me this stuff, right? And you tell me they're wacky flavors. And my first thought is, yes, but are they Jones Soda level wacky flavors?
Oh, Jones Soda.
I have a thing about rice flavor where it's like, listen, I love rice as much as the next guy. I eat it almost every evening with dinner. However, I've never thought to myself, let me add the flavor of rice to another existing thing. Ever.
Because it's meant to be the filling for everything. It's not meant to be like the actual main course.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, you're telling me rice flavored candy, and my brain goes, cool, when are they gonna make, like, a fucking roast turkey flavor? Like, Jones Soda literally has a roast turkey soda.
I've tried some of those before. None of them are good.
No, well, I've heard the cranberry one is the only one that's even passable of like the Thanksgiving bunch.
I guess you can get away with that, but anything other than that, like even bacon flavored things, it's too much. It's too much.
It's weird. Sometimes you can hit a meat flavoring, sometimes you can't. It's weird.
I do love me some Japanese candy, though.
I mean, I'll take any candy, honestly, but I mean, you know, Japanese is good too.
Also from my end of things, I saw that Thunderbolt Fantasy Season 4 is starting filming.
Oh man, I know that you love your puppets, and I'm still gonna sit here and say, why don't their hands move right?
It's action puppetry and it's amazing.
Why have I not heard of this action puppetry? What is it called?
Thunderbolt Fantasy.
I believe it's spelled with a PH, not an F.
No, it's spelled with a F. Thunderbolt
Oh, yeah?
Fantasy.
What in the world am I looking at?
It's amazing, Chris. You should...
It's painful.
It is Gen Orobuchi.
Is this... Oh, man. This is Anime Team America.
Yes, but not as good.
Hey, your opinion.
I didn't see any musicals in this show, did you?
Oh, wow.
I see my point has been met with silence.
But I am highly looking forward to Season 4, and I will probably review it episode by episode.
Oh, you're going to be alone in that one. Oh, my
He
God.
is very much going to be alone in that. That's his own personal project on this channel, not mine.
In just looking at this small clip, this is hilarious. I might watch this just for the hilarious factor.
Oh, it's good for, like, you know, some gifs and gauze, but, like, if you're actually sitting down to watch it, I can't stop nitpicking the problems with the puppets.
Yeah.
Like, the lack of facial expressions.
It also feels like bad CGI.
There's that, too, sometimes. I will say
Alright.
the practical effects they do throw in there are not bad.
It's all right,
Like some of the
Brandon. I won't make
explosions
fun
and
of you
shit.
for your taste.
It's fine. I'll do it.
Puppetry.
I'll do it enough for both of us.
Yeah, go ahead. Go off.
So
It's what I do. It's
That's
why
it
I'm
for
here.
me. Brandon, Chris. Well, Chris, you're the guest. Anything special going on with you? Like any anime you're watching? Any games you've been playing?
So I've been rewatching Psycho Pass recently,
Ooh,
Ooh.
we watched that.
and
That was
because
good.
that was a show I remembered loving deeply, and
Mm-hmm.
I watched it so long ago that I forget why I loved it and how good it was, and in rewatching it, oh my god, this show is so damn good. I love it so much.
I
Oh,
love
it's
Gen
great.
Oribuchi. He does
Yeah,
amazing anime.
yeah, this man don't miss. Like this show, man, there's so many layers and levels to it. Shows that make me think like that, love them.
What
As
was
for
that?
games, I've been playing a lot of Fortnite with the kids lately, which has been a blast.
I don't know how I feel about Fortnite. I've never actually wanted to play it, mostly because it seems to push a lot of just microtransactions on you.
That is a fair point. The kids love it, and it's honestly not my cup of tea anyway. But I do enjoy shooting things.
I mean,
Um,
hey, who doesn't?
and I will say, even though it is like an embarrassing thing to reveal, playing with them because they play on Switch. So when we queue together, I just feel like a god because I'm running around on a PC dominating 12-year-olds on a Switch. And
I
like,
mean, you know.
yeah, I mean, and their face lights up. We win like 20 plus kills. They get so excited. They're calling all their friends. And I'm over here like understanding why I'm doing so well. Not like just letting them feed into the bullshit lie that I'm actually a god at this game when in reality I am terrible.
Oh my god. Look, man, you gotta get your self-esteem up some way, you know?
Exactly. And I
And
get
I
to look
mean,
good to the kids. I get to look like a god at something I'm not good at.
well, look, the other thing is some of those 12-year-olds need to learn their lesson that they're just not good.
Yeah, exactly. Swipe mommy's credit card, get another scan, and try again.
Yeah, because, you know, the skin makes it all better.
Exactly.
Oh my god. No, yeah, I've seen people do that with like other games, you know. Like I remember as a young boy of what, 14 I think at the time when the Dragon Ball Z Budokai games were out,
Oh my god, so good.
destroying my Speaking of which, they're coming out with a number 4 now.
Oh,
Uh
sorry. Go ahead. Go on. I was about to jump on a Dragon Ball video game tangent.
Don't
no,
worry, we do tangents all the time.
Oh, I'm
it
good
may
at
as well
those.
be the show, honestly. No, I remember like destroying my brother. Now, granted, that may have destroyed our relationship, but you know.
There was once a facade with my children where I was good at Smash Brothers when
Oh,
they were really young, and I remember my wife used to like pressure me because I would never let them win. Like I'm talking just dominating 3-year-olds. Like this is my house, you know what I mean? Sit down. And but in doing that I taught them the lesson of like work really hard, play against people who are better than you, and like rise to the occasion. And now both of these boys, my oldest son is 9, my middle son is 8, didn't just absolutely dominate me in Smash, like on a level that I never thought was possible. We had a whole knighting ceremony where we crowned my eldest son like the champion of the house. It was a wonderful time.
that's beautiful.
And I get the awesome stories of like he has his little girlfriend from kindergarten, and he's like, oh, I went over his house, or I went over her house, and her older brother and his friends were there, and I just dominated them all in Smash. I was like, there you go, boy.
See, that's the way you get daddy's pride and love.
Exactly. That's how you earn my love. You earn it on the battlefield of Smash Brothers.
Exactly. Got to earn it on that video game battlefield.
Exactly. Sweet kids, though. Real good kids.
As they crush other 12-year-olds.
Oh man, he was so happy too. He's like, Dad, they're teenagers and I beat them. And I'm like, good for you, dude. And this is what happens when you don't let them win.
Anything going on with you, Brandon?
So, I finally finished Digimon Survive. Or at least I finished the true path ending or whatever. Gotta admit, I'm very disappointed. The villain gets off way too easy in that game.
I'm gonna be honest, didn't even know Digimon had a survival game. What in the world is this?
So it is part tactical RPG, part visual novel. what it essentially is the idea of like almost like a reimagining of how the digital world became a thing, because
Okay.
the word Digimon never shows up until the end of any route.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, they're supposedly like initially some kind of like spirits or whatever.
Okay.
Like they still look like your regular Digimon, like Gabumon and shit, right? But they're just called different things because it's more of a Japanese religion that they come from initially.
Okay.
So the more or less the main thing is like people have been going missing up in this like rural mountainous town. You and your friends are here with a school trip to be like, cool, there's a landmark we need to go see. Now, what that landmark is, I don't fucking know. They never get there. Because
Burying the lead.
yeah, because your friends as well as well, I say friends. Two of them are your friends at the start. Two other ones are like fellow classmates that you've barely talked to. Three others are classmates you barely talked to, and then two others are local kids. But you get warped into the digital world through some bullshit, which is like this so-called spiriting away or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
along with an old professor or like a college professor or something who studies archaeology. And as you're in there, shit goes wrong fast. I'm trying to think of. I know there's other ones I haven't seen because there's 4 routes and I've done 2. And I did the 2 that were like the least deadly. So each character has like an affection meter or whatever that means how much they trust you or what you say. And as a result, if they don't trust you enough when they reach a certain point in the story, they're going to die. And probably one of the most graphic ones I've seen is literally like, how much of Digimon have you seen actually?
I mean,
Like-
I watched a lot of it growing up, but
Okay,
this
so
was back in the day when like you didn't catch every episode. I wasn't binging seasons of it.
Yeah, okay. Did you you saw the episode where like Agumon digivolves into like Skull Greymon or whatever, right?
That's a classic scene. Come on, now.
Right. Okay. So you essentially get that, but with a different Digimon, Lopmon,
Okay.
who's like a little bunny character. He digivolves into a much more monstrous form called Wendigomon, who then eats his own partner after said partner was literally kicking and beating him in.
That is heavy for Digimon. I wouldn't
Yeah,
expect
no,
that.
it's a very heavy show.
I wouldn't
A very heavy game. It's like one of their only mature rated games.
Oh shit! Oh, it is.
I think it's mature.
Still, Death and a Digimon.
Yeah, no, that's one of the more graphic ones I've seen where he literally gets eaten alive, and then at that point, there are points where you see and hear. Well, I should say hear both voices coming out of like the Digimon, like screaming to basically be killed.
Oh Jesus! Some Attack on Titan vibes there.
Kinda, yeah.
Why does
Right.
Lopmon look so familiar?
Lopmon made an appearance in the Digimon movie. I
Wait,
believe
no,
that's
no,
where
no.
he
Yeah,
first
I
originated.
remember this Digimon.
Who is Henry's partner?
Terriermon. They're like twin Digimon, basically.
Oh, okay.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
Okay, yeah,
Lopmon and
yeah.
Terriermon first show up in the Digimon movie, and then Terriermon is a partner in Tamers in the season 3,
I was gonna
basically.
say I remember this cute little bastard.
But yeah, it's awful. They die in horrific ways. Like the other character that died in my first route literally has a mental breakdown and walks into death.
I might have to check this game out.
I will say, I would recommend dropping it down to like easiest difficulty because otherwise it's a grind fest.
I don't have I ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, just drop it down to very easy. You'll be fine. Because I was playing on normal and I'm like, well, I need to grind now. But you know, if you're on very easy, I wiped the floor with everything because with the final battles, I just got tired of like having to even think about that.
I'll be completely honest with you though. I do enjoy a grind. Like that's what I miss. I think about older games is the grind.
I mean, oh yeah, you can totally like turn off your mind when you're doing the grinding stuff. Usually,
It's when I get lost in a game. It's just repetitive grinding for hours on end.
you get to like I'm gonna bring up like the true ending route, which is the one I just finished the other day, which is basically like you get to find out who the big bad actually is. It's not just this outer shell looking thing. It's like you actually see the Digimon itself that's at the core of it all. and you
Okay.
find out that he is fused with like an older like human spirit that had been sacrificed to come to this world and try to keep balance. Who
Evilmon, if you will.
may as well be Feng Longmon if you want to look him up. Either way, he's essentially like, oh my god, I'm going to murder everything. I'm going to kill everyone. It's like, dude, you've been here for hundreds of years. Anyone you wanted to kill is gone at this point. Don't care. Rah, rage, arg.
We'll be topical. We'll call him Delingmon.
Fair enough. The end result is you beat Feng Longmon. You kind of break whatever dark hold that his partner had over him. I'm like brushing by this real quick without getting into the deep shit and bogging all this down any further than I already am. But all of a sudden, now that you've beaten him, it's like all the angry emotions and shit have vanished, and his sister is now here to tell him, like, I didn't kill you. It's fine. We were meant to meet up anyway later. I couldn't do it because I was old when I got a chance to do so, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, Yo's tears are enough to be, an apology. And I'm like,
Oh.
one, all of our other characters that die in this game die horrifically. Two, he's been, like, spiriting away and murdering children for hundreds of years. Why does he get away with this with no repercussions? This is some bullshit.
I feel like that's a classic, like.
That would be a classic Digimon if it wasn't such a dark story to begin with.
Yeah.
The fact that it's such a dark story, I'm like, there should be no redemption for this shit. What is this? So yes, I am rather aggravated with the ending of that one.
I'm going to be honest with you. I usually don't play games for the ending anyway. I rarely make it to them. I just get bored after 30 hours and give up.
And let me put it this way. Like, I'm more mad that I wasted my time and that was my ending. Right? Because when I went through to get the true route, you have to go through New Game Plus. So I had to go through the first half of the game twice, essentially.
I love those.
With
I
very
love
little
those.
difference.
Love having to play a game again to figure out the story.
I'll give them this much. At the very least, their like skip feature for previously read dialogue was nice. It just fast forwarded everything until you either came to a point where you needed to make a choice, or you got new content. In which case, it was like, all right, we're back to normal pace now. Read this shit. But it's still annoying because, like, even on fast forward, that still means I had to put more time into this than I probably would have wanted to. There are other games that have had a similar situation where they're just like, here, we'll start you at the point where things actually change.
I'm trying to think of a game I've played that like does stuff like that. I'm sure I've come across it.
The other downside is the affection levels of the other characters don't transfer between the new game and New Game Plus, which is annoying.
Oh.
You do keep any Digivolutions and any of the, like, well, for lack of a better term, wild Digimon that you've caught. So any of your, all of your levels and shit move over, all of your items, all of your other shit. It's like, if you're giving me all this, just give me the affection levels because it really doesn't matter.
All right, boys. I'm chomping at the bit here.
Anyway, yeah, let's get into the real thing that we're here to do.
Yes. And before we get into this, we're going to cut to Ryan's guess on what the title is.
Oh shit, I forgot you were doing that.
Yeah, since he's not here this season, we're doing it in his absence.
Well, this is a Gundam, obviously.
Nah.
What's it?
Crazy.
Was it called Witch Suit Fury?
The witch from Mercury.
The witch from Mercury.
Yep.
Oh man, is this like Rita Repulsa?
Oh my god, how'd he guess?
She's making like tiny little clay robots and making them fight on Earth. Like yeah, dude, it's just Power Rangers but Gundam.
Just Power Rangers but Gundam.
Yeah, that's my guess. They're
So,
fighting a space witch.
so there's magic involved, or what?
Yes, magic and robots.
Magic and robots, you say?
Yes.
Like, do
To
the
shreds, you say?
so like do the Gundams have wizard hats and cast spells, or is it still very
Yeah,
tech based with like lasers, swords?
it's tech-based, but they look like wizards and stuff.
Just a Gundam with a wizard hat on. It's got the robes from fucking the Mickey Mouse thing in that hat.
You know,
Yeah.
I could see that happening if they made a new G Gundam.
Sorcerer's Apprentice. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Actually, it's Fantasia, I believe.
Yeah, but the short itself is
Okay.
called The Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Mm.
That's inside of Fantasia.
So,
Yeah, the little mops carrying around buckets.
so what's the conflict in this? Because like Gundam is almost always about like space war. Will the wizards be fighting against Earth, or what?
No, the wizards are protecting Earth from the space witch.
Ah,
Mercury,
okay.
dude.
Clearly.
Yeah, Rita Repulsa.
Okay, so Space Witch and magic robots.
Yes.
So question then, Orion. Are the robots powered by magic or how does that work?
I think they're more or less just inspired by the aesthetic of
Okay,
magic and
all right.
wizards.
Will one of them have a long white beard?
Yeah, mechanical Whitebeard. Perhaps like maybe the witch actually does have magic, so maybe they're seeking magic to help strengthen their robots to fight against her army of magic robots. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Maybe there's like a staff. Now it's just like, what is that? Transformers. They're just looking for something in Earth that's like a magic relic or something.
Nah. Impossible.
So that's your theory.
They're going for the
Yes.
holy hand grenade.
Exactly.
And thank you, Orion. I bet your description was comical and enlightening.
Thank you.
I'm
Yes.
sure it was exactly what we're about to talk about.
Yes. Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury, Season 1.
Boys, I've got notes. All right, I've got notes.
Oh
here.
man, he's come prepared.
I've got words on a piece of paper that I wrote with a pencil.
Oh man, he put in the extra effort.
I really did.
He got the
And
pencil and the paper.
you were telling me, Chris, this is your first Gundam series that you watched.
This
Oh.
is, other than the toys as a children, this is my first experience ever watching something Gundam related. So I was going in
Really?
completely blind.
Well, that was perfect then, because this is a completely like separate storyline from everything else.
And I was confused with a few things, which we'll get to, because I've got
All
notes,
right.
like I said.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
I've seen 0083, 0080, Gundam Unicorn, which takes place in the same continuity. I think I've seen part of Char's counterattack, which is, I think, in 0078, 79, somewhere around that year, and G Gundam, which takes place in its own continuity.
I watched G and I've seen a bit of Iron Blooded Orphans.
So where does this take place in the Gundam world then, like in the greater Gundam world? Because going in blind, it felt like
It's its own
prequel-ish.
continuity.
But it felt prequel-ish without knowing anything, where it was like, because it seems like we are like before Gundams are like a big thing, I guess.
Well, if you're talking like timeline as far as like development goes, yes, this is technically pre-Gundam.
Okay. Which had me slightly confused at first.
Although I believe they're also basing this off of like a slightly different technology, like more biological based in this than original Gundam would have been.
Which is, I've got a few questions about that as well.
Oh, okay, sure.
I
Plenty here.
think there's something like 10 or so Gundam universes, some of which only have one entry, some of which have like a few. With like
Yeah.
the Universal Century, your 0086, 0096, and stuff like that. That's like the main storyline, which has the most entries.
Okay. So this is just like an offshoot in its own world kind of thing.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Well, then at least I guess I don't need to know everything about Gundam going in.
Nope. I'm sure there are references in which I believe I mentioned this one to Brandon actually. The hairstyle of Ghoul, who you've met in like episode 1.
Yes. We'll get into
his hair
that man takes
colors.
a lot of L's.
You have
Yeah,
no
that man
idea.
takes a lot of
dude.
L's.
You have
Oh my
no
God.
idea. You
Poor
did not
Ghoul,
get to where
Jesus
his
Christ.
real L is.
Poor Ghoul. My God, this man can't catch a break.
You have no idea.
And just for frame of reference, I'm only 5 episodes in. 6 if you count the prologue, which I think might have been my favorite episode thus far.
It's the most self-contained.
It also, I'll be straight up. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you guys. It got a tear out of me immediately in the first episode. If you get a tear out of me, I'm in for the first season, guaranteed.
Oh.
It got a tear out of me. Rolled down the
What
cheek. And
moment was it?
Listen,
was it-
I'm a father. I've got kids. Anything that has to do with children, fatherhood,
No!
it's me in the heart, dude.
Oh
And this
no!
man saving his family while singing happy birthday to his daughter. Just God, I get up not just talking about it. Jesus Christ.
Oh, I don't know if you're gonna like where this goes.
Just immediately, like right off the rip. I knew it was coming. You can feel it. And like even just the moment with her, like where like Elnora is realizing that it's connected to her daughter, like that. Oh my God, all the thoughts going through my mind. I have this unique parent perspective of like, oh my God, your child.
I don't know how to even like counter this right now because of like the rest of the show that you have not seen.
I will also say too, like in my notes for the prologue, because I have notes episode by episode here.
Yeah.
I was shocked at how like bloody it was going to be because I'm thinking Gundam. Like I'm remembering my childhood playing with Gundams, like this sweet childish thing, and like right away they're like, no, this is not for kids. Which took me by surprise. Like the second you see someone get shot in the head, I'm like, oh shit, okay, I'm down for this.
Yep. No, it is very much not your 90s Gundam anymore or your 80s Gundam anymore.
And I think it all depends on like the writer, obviously, but maybe.
Well, yeah, because like G Gundam, I don't think there's any real on-camera deaths in that one that I can recall, other than like I think Master Asia. But even him, it's not a bloody death. It's like oh man, the whole Gundam went boom and there's nothing left.
Well, in this one, you get life leaving the eyes. Like
we'll get to some of this shit.
I'm all yeah, okay.
And before we begin, hey Brandon, do you want to guess my favorite character in this?
Tell me why it's Choo Choo.
Or
is it Miorine?
No. For once, I did not pick the tsundere. For once.
Have you broken the trend?
I'm not going to say no, because 2 or 3 episodes down the line, I may fall right back into there. Nika, I found her adorable.
Okay.
Oh, really?
I feel like that's a fair pick, though. That's not a crazy pick.
Even after, okay, all right.
Yeah,
okay,
but
change.
Yeah, but like, depending on what she does in season 2,
that might change. Specifically because of season 2, because unlike you two, I have watched the 2 episodes that have been released thus far of this show in season 2 because I could not hold myself back.
I also feel like I have the skewed perspective of not having seen the first season all the way through, but I'm interested to know, Brandon, your pick for who your favorite is. Your best girl, because I've got mine. I don't think anyone will ever guess, and it's a weird one. That's like, it was episode 2 where it was like immediate. Actually, episode 1. It's in my episode 1 notes, and the character has one line and says 2 words.
See, I'm not even sure if I have a best girl in this one.
Gasp.
Like, there's too many to pick from.
But your brain doesn't automatically just fill in like okay, if I had to pick one, here it is.
It hasn't, actually, and that's rare for me. Usually there's one that stands out. All of them are really good. God damn. Gun to my head, which one do I pick?
Yeah, gun to your head, dude. It's going down. You're dying or taking a wife? Which one is it?
Well, shit. My gut wants to say Soletta, but at the same time, there's some fucked up shit going on there. You know what?
I have to pull up that character so I remember exactly who you're talking about. So
Main
I can
girl.
picture it in my mind. Oh yeah. Okay, never mind. Which I don't like. I get why they changed her name, but I'm confused about some things.
We'll get to that.
Yeah,
that is revealed in season 2. That is brought out as a thing.
Okay.
I
mean, it's not a bad pick to pick the main character. That's not a crazy pick either.
That's what my gut wants to do, but like my brain's going, no, are you an idiot? Do Choo Choo. Choo Choo's the best.
Okay.
Literally just punches a bitch in the face.
So
like brutally honest, just sock you in the face, shut the fuck up.
If it makes you
I think I would go with Choo Choo. I honestly do.
If it makes you feel any better, Brandon, Miorine is my number 2.
The curse is not quite broken then.
Exactly.
I'll be honest. I don't know if you're gonna even remember the character by name when I say it for my pick, and it came. I don't know. So for me, it's not necessarily like a character archetype. I'll be watching a show, and there will be a moment that, like, in my brain, it clicks where it's like, for that reason, it is this person, and that person is Cecilia, and I don't know why specifically, but there was like she gets an introduction. She has literally one line, and she says 2 words, and like I was like, yeah, it's her, 100%. Something about the attitude and her just like chilling on the couch like a badass.
Oh, her.
I was in. I was all the way in.
All right. Yeah.
She's like snarky, and I was like, yep, I'm in, 100%.
Hold on, let me get a picture of her.
It's not even always necessarily based on the look. Sometimes it is the look of the character that will.
I just want to make sure it's the one I think it is. Oh yeah, tan skin, like silverish hair. Yeah, I've been curious about her because she feels like she should have some kind of bigger role, but she doesn't do anything. So I've been curious where she's from.
I want more of her. That's all I know. All I know is after that one line and 2 words, give me more.
I mean, she does do more. I'll give you that. Like as far as like doling out lines, but like,
put this bitch in a Gundam. That's what I say. Put this bitch in a Gundam. Give her her own show.
Yeah, not a lot of action, which is the weirdest part for me.
Gets my seal of approval. Usually for me, it is those characters though. It's not the character you spend a whole lot of time with. It's like that girl off to the side who says some clever shit, and I'm like, all right, girl. Yeah. I see you over there on the couch looking all cool. All
right, so. Are we ready to start digging into the prologue?
Yes. Which you saw after the few episodes.
I had forgotten that there was a prologue, so I, in my foolhardiness, didn't watch it until after episode 6.
Oh, okay.
And it kind of like, so I had a lot of theories at this point. And watching that definitely cemented those theories as like, oh, I'm pretty sure I know what's going on. And not to toot my own horn, but by the time season 2 rolled around and I watched those 2, I'm like, oh, okay, this just confirms everything. All right.
Cool. And I was right. Okay.
And I was right the entire time.
Should I add more points to your money bin, good sir?
Like, here's the thing. I almost hate that I was right, like proven right almost immediately, because now it looks like I'm just going to be copying what has been said in season 2 and be like, yeah, I already called that. And it'll sound like I'm just pulling shit out of my ass.
I mean, my notes are a little out of order here in the prologue because my brain just kind of spews things out as it comes to me, whether I watched it in whatever order it might come. Yeah. So I want to start with fucking this man's Delling speech, like right off the rip. I'm like, this dude clearly is off. Like just the whole weirdness about humans killing humans and needing to like bear that responsibility. The whole thing felt shady as fuck.
Yeah, I
right
got
off
the
the
same
rip.
thing. I will say there's more we learn about Delling in season 2.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it's more about him being a prick because that guy. The amount of times I wrote Delling as a prick in my notes is hilarious.
Maybe not so much.
Every
Maybe.
time though, every time this man comes on screen, it gets a little notation where I'm like, "Yep, Delling's a prick, straight up."
I mean, I'm not going to disagree that he's a prick, but
You can have justified motives and still be a prick. I stand by it.
I'm going to disagree that he had justified motives to be a prick.
Okay.
But his overall goal may not be as like evil looking as it seems.
I was also a bit confused as well with because in the prologue it does just throw you in, which is how
Yep.
it's supposed to go, and you kind of figure it out as you go.
Yep.
But again, not going into anything Gundam, my whole mind is getting confused with the idea that not everyone is in a Gundam, only some of them are Gundams, and I'm not sure what makes them different and why they're killing people that pilot them.
Yep.
That's immediately what threw me for a loop, and I was confused. I'm like, where are we going here? Why is this suit different from that suit? What does it do? Can you guys shed light on that for me in any way?
Sure. So the original Gundam technology that you saw in there was meant to be more like, how do I want to put this? To be like a kind of
artificial limb?
Yeah, like replacement body parts to help people live in space, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I believe the idea that they were coming up with was the idea of, well, if we can kind of move the human mind into a mechanical, fully mechanical body or biomechanical body, that would allow us to, survive in space better than we'd ever have, and we'd never have to worry about the after effects of it, like muscle atrophy and all that other shit.
Because that's never ended poorly.
Of course not. So that the idea of what Gundams are doing as far as why, the one thing I wasn't 100% sure on with the prologue, and I'm still not 100% sure on now, is why they were building a full-on mecha to begin with, outside of are you transferring your body into that?
Yes.
In which case, why?
And the idea to me that what makes the Gundam better than a regular mech suit? Where's the...
So, from what I gather of that, it seems to be that you are mentally connecting your faculties to the Gundam itself.
Okay, and I guess other mechs aren't like that. You're just controlling it?
Yes, you're just generally piloting it like you would a plane. In this case, your mental faculties are tied instinctively to the Gundam itself. Right?
See, that's where the confusion came, because I'm going into this thinking they're all doing that. Nope.
Well, it does become a bit
some
more
light.
clear. I think later on in the season 1.
I'm starting to get bits and pieces of it, but again, I'm only halfway through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think later on in season 1, it shows off what is it? Ellen, I think the game's name is Elan. Ellen.
Yeah.
It shows him, and he's literally seeing things through the Gundam's eyes.
Okay.
So it's okay. It's literally just you've connected your senses to the actual mech suit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's the overload of doing that too far that causes people to die.
Yes. And where I'm at, having finished episode 5, is where you start getting a taste of him as a character.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing I
enjoy that. It doesn't last long.
Well, the last thing I have in my notes, because where I left off before we started the show, is Gundams are just okay now at some point. And I hit a point in my note where I'm Gundams are just okay now. I'm confused. I'm so confused. Nope. Which is why I'm so excited to watch the next episode, because I'm I got to know what goes on now that this dude is just he's yelling to the world. Apparently I'm piloting a Gundam, and I'm okay. I thought that wasn't okay.
And in most Gundam continuities, they're just normal mech suits, but what makes them a Gundam is what side of the war is building them.
It also depends too, because I think in some cases they're using a unique metal to build them as well.
Gundinium.
I guess in this universe, what makes it a Gundam is the fact that it's using the Gund software, I believe it is called.
Yeah, the software that allows you to basically merge your personal senses with it. Yeah.
Yes, the Gund arms, Gundam.
Yep.
I remember a character saying that, and I'm okay, there it is. You made the connection.
And in G Gundam, was it because they were Gundinium or was it something else?
I don't recall specifically. I think it's just that it's Gundinium.
Saying Gundinium also reminds me of Spacians and Earthians, which I love as like
Oh, it was like a
their
racial thing, yeah.
yeah, like their vessel to like add that because it makes sense, like in the reality of space
Oh
travel.
yeah, and when you start learning like what the fuck they did to Earth itself, yeah, for sure.
I thought that was neat. I like that, and every time I hear it, it tickles me a little bit.
I think that-
I'm not gonna get tired of Choo Choo just screaming, "You goddamn Spacian!"
Yeah.
I think there was a term in the OG Gundam universe.
It might have been because they like the originals were set on Earth, and others were like Xeon and shit.
I thought Xeon was a space colony that wanted independence from Earth, so they started like a war with Earth.
I don't remember the exact reasonings. I don't know if that's the reason or if they're like Earth is fucked. We should just take it over.
And just going back to 0083 for just a minute, I would love another Gundam series or action series as a whole with an out of place smooth jazz outro.
Okay. I wasn't really blown away by the opening theme. It wasn't bad, I will say, since you brought up the music. The music in the show, however, is fucking phenomenal.
Oh
I
Yes.
yeah,
stand
no.
by it.
Show music is amazing. I didn't know how I felt about that intro when I first heard it because I heard it before we started watching at one
Mhm.
point. And I was like, it seems like it's okay. It definitely grew on me by the end.
For me, I could feel like it's definitely not bad. It just
Mhm.
didn't stand out as something like because I will add them to playlists regularly where I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, this is going in my playlist and I'm going to listen to this all the time.
Mhm.
And it just, I didn't get that vibe right off the rip where I was like, okay, this is not going in the playlist immediately.
For
I'm sure
sure,
it'll
yeah.
grow on me.
Yeah,
I've been listening to it every time. I'm not skipping it. So
Mhm. Yeah, no, this one definitely grew on me, and that
Mhm.
tends to happen sometimes. It, like some of them are growers, and others are just like in your face.
they're showers. Some are growers and some are showers when it comes to
Exactly.
opening
You
themes.
got
You know
it.
what I'm saying?
Um,
I'm picking up what you're putting down, all right?
I don't think I would add this one to a playlist either myself, unless I was like specifically interested in like re-listening to it. So maybe this won't be your jam either. But
So
it works for what it is.
moving on from the prologue, what's like going into episode 1? Because again, I have my notes. I don't know if you have notes at all, but like, what are the thoughts going through your mind like as you're starting this? Because for me, I love how anime does this, and they do it all the time, and I cherish it. I'll never not enjoy it, which is taking this outlandish idea. In this case, it is giant mechs that fucking do awesome shit and fight, and it's wonderful. And then they find a way to turn it into like a high school hierarchy system where everything is decided by a coin flip and like rules don't matter. I love it. I love it so much.
Yes, children's card games.
Yes.
They will decide the fate of the world.
God damn, I don't know how they do it every time and how I haven't gotten bored of it yet, but I'm here for the ride.
So, Brandon, were you getting Yu-Gi-Oh! GX vibes?
So yes, I'm like, oh, Gundam school. Okay, we're going to card game school again. Got it.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. My brain went immediately GX. I like GX.
I mean, the list of shows that do this is countless. I just got done
Oh, yeah.
watching Kakaguri recently, so I was getting those vibes where I'm like, oh, we're just taking this random obscure thing and we're turning it into a high school now, where all the rules are decided by one-on-one combat in some way, shape, or form.
Hey, look, we just got done like a month ago or so reviewing fucking season 6 of Boku no Hero,
Yes.
which is just Superhero Academy.
Exactly.
Did
God,
you
I
ever
love it.
finish that, Chris?
No. I actually, so in order to watch this today, I renewed my Crunchyroll subscription, which I haven't been paying for in a long time. So I have to go back now and like finish that season of Boku no Hero because I'm like halfway through it.
Wait, did you you're only on like season 6 then?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I just want to make sure. 'Cause I'm like, what? Did you back in season 4 or something?
No.
Nope.
I've been keeping up with it for a while.
Mhm.
And then I just like fell off the anime boat for a while. And then
all right.
I'm dipping my toe back in. The problem with all of these things is I'll start shows and I'm watching them consistently, and then I get distracted by other shows and I never
Yep.
go back. So
Yep. Hey,
I gotta
look,
make a concerted effort.
that's video games for me, man. I don't blame
Yeah,
you.
and to be fair, like as much as I do love that show, it doesn't have a grip on me like it did like in those early few seasons, where I was
Alright.
like, I'm not missing it for anything.
And not calling you out on this again, Chris, but Chris is the one who had the drunken celebration once Hawks came back.
Yes. Oh my god, it was I was so happy. Literally just hammered by myself in bed watching it, like cheering.
Oh my god.
I get emotional. I get emotional when I watch anime. I'm not like I don't sit in the corner quietly. I'm cheering these characters on. I'm crying along with them, blood, sweat, and tears.
Look, man, I can't say I've ever had a drunken celebration about it, though. I've never gone that far.
I mean, I
I've
was
shed
already
tears.
drunk to begin with. I was already
all right,
drunk
you
to
know what?
begin
Fair. That's fair.
with.
And you're like, Hawks is back! Your sister just comes running in, like, what are you yelling about? Hawks is back!
That's what happens when you mix copious amounts of alcohol and
Boku no
a
Hero.
nice Boku no Hero episode.
Oh my god. Anyway, what else was going on in episode 1 that you were asking about, Chris?
So I don't remember what I was asking specifically about episode 1.
Oh, it was about like the school thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, just bringing
that's
up
what
the
was on.
idea
Yeah.
about how I love that concept.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, everybody can relate to a school setting. Everyone's been to one. It's super easy to get people to understand the situation for the most part from that perspective.
Also, in my notes for this episode, I have because I will make addendums to notes as I go if I change my mind or if something like affects a previous thing that I might have written down.
Mhm.
So at first, like this dueling concept comes up, and I'm like, okay, dueling is neat. And then like we have this duel and the engagement reveal at the end of this duel, and I'm like, I have to go back because duels are fucking awesome. Duels went from like neat, like oh this is neat, to like goddamn duels are fucking awesome in the show.
Wait. So Brandon,
Yes.
when you found out about the whole duels equal marriage thing, right? Did it remind you immediately of something?
Revolutionary Girl Utena.
That's immediately where my mind went to. I'm like, oh, this is Gundam Utena. Okay.
Even though we just saw the movie of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a reveal that I
Like
rather
it's even like two girls with each other, so it's even got that level of crossover with that concept. So
Go watch our Utena episode.
I'm sure I yell at it for one reason or another.
This is also this episode has my first note for Ghoul is also a prick like his father. That one is in there.
Yep. I'm sure that changed as you progressed.
It does. It changes really quick too. The man, God, I feel so bad for this boy because it's like I understand, like, sure you're a dickhead, but like, at what point when as the story unfolds, do you like attribute a lot of that to this poor child's like abuse that he like grew up with his father and like all the pressure on him?
Oh,
God damn, this poor and he just takes nothing but L's. It's like, give this guy a fucking break.
At what point in episode 5 is Ghoul at?
Ghoul is at episode 5 is when he challenges the other not what's his name? Ellen.
Okay,
I almost called him Elon. So when him and Elon have their duel, is where it ends off.
All right.
I just watched him take another L from Elon.
Oh, then you've got the repercussions of what happens after that, huh?
I haven't. I don't believe I have yet. I know he's in deep shit though, and I feel terrible because I'm sure something not good is coming.
Multiple not goods if we're gonna be real.
No.
I'll put it this way. I have not seen him show up in season 2 yet.
Oh God.
Oh.
I don't know what has happened to him in the interim.
Yeah, because the end of him is kind of ambiguous.
Yeah, it's very unclear, and I'm trying to think. I don't even think he shows up in the intro.
I guess the Jeturks have like a new the youngest son becomes the heir now.
He takes over, and you can see Daddy's little boy.
Uh-oh.
So you can take that jerk moniker and just slap it on his younger brother now.
Okay, I'm sure it was coming. eventually. I figured that would be like as I go, like my brain will just formulate ideas, and like I had a feeling where I'm like, the way this dude's dad is, like you're not taking another L and just like being the head of the family. Like that's not how this is gonna go.
Yeah, and here's where I'm at with that is like, oh, at some point, Ghoul's probably gonna come back and recognize that his brother has literally become what he was being prior,
Yeah.
except maybe worse.
There's a redemption arc for Ghoul in here.
Oh, it's happening for sure.
Yeah,
There's no
there
way
is
he's not.
100%. Like if he hasn't come back yet in season 2, I wouldn't be surprised if he does at some point, unless he's dead. But I don't know about that.
He is not dead as of the end of season 2 or season 1.
All right. Well, he's coming back with a vengeance then.
And I kind of am interested in Minorine's arc of her wanting to go to Earth to escape everything.
And
So
then not going when she has the choice.
I'm curious why she's obsessed with Earth specifically and nowhere else.
I had a thought on that too, where it's like, well, what about Earth makes it like you not gettable? Because isn't he just gonna go there and get you? Like, I don't know. Like, how does getting to Earth stop you from having to deal with your father?
That's part of what I don't understand. He's just gonna get her anyway, unless Earth is some kind of weird like stay out zone or something.
Because he even says it too, where he's like, "Oh, I know where she's going. She's going to Earth. Like, this ain't no thing."
Either that, or she thinks she can like lose herself in the crowd more or less with that. Maybe that's the only other thing I can think of.
I guess that makes sense.
Because, like, Earthian and Spatians are two separate quote-unquote races or something. Maybe she can, like, blend in with the Earth crowd more so than she can with the space crowd.
Take on an Earthian moniker. Disappear.
Yeah, I'm assuming, the idea would be to just disappear.
I guess we'll never find out. Because it don't seem like we're going to Earth.
Maybe, maybe not. Who knows with circumstances being what they are.
I need to finish this show. I'm so in. And it's funny because I didn't want to say this before, but like I was going into this today, like, all right, I'll go in blind, and then, my thought was I'll watch the prologue, and then I'll be like, convince me to keep watching this show, like, because
we didn't have to do it.
I was honestly shocked because I'm like in my head, like I said before, what Gundam was to me as a kid, where it was like, not that I don't watch shows that are geared toward younger audiences. I watch them with my kids all the time and we love them. Mm-hmm. But like, for whatever reason, this one I was like, I wasn't really like excited going into a Gundam show. And coming out of the fucking prologue, I was like, I'm not going to stop until it's time to record this show because I need to keep watching.
So here's the thing. When I first heard of this, I heard it was more campy, and I forget where I heard that. But then we get to like the prologue. Well, like I said, I saw the prologue later, so for me it was a little bit later in the season. But we get to a point where I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't as campy as I was told. Not that I'm not interested, but it's not what I was expecting out of this.
To be fair, I will say though, I do really enjoy the show, but there is some negative in my notes because it is not a perfect show. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of anime struggle from some of these issues, which is like this weird need to like convolute a story to where like you can tell the same exact story and just do it a little more smooth, and things make a little more sense. They have the exam episode, and it's like you're doing a makeup exam, but you can retake it as many times as you want. Like, I'm just confused as to how this is working this way. Like, and then at one point, like you said, like Choo Choo punches a bitch in the face, which is awesome. But like, is the teacher just like, or the instructor or whoever, just like waiting for them to continue retaking their exams endlessly? And then in the end, none of it matters because they get another exam retake. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Why do we have to do all this?
So the way I kind of read that situation is like you have, let's say like you have an exam at the end of the week, right? My thought is you have a time period, in this case probably like the weekend or something, to fucking fix your problem and get yourself back. Otherwise you probably get dropped. I wish they would have said something like that, but that's kind of where I draw the assumption to with that situation.
In my mind, I feel like you tell the same story, like all the same moments can happen, the same kind of information, character development, but like without the need to get lost in something like that. Maybe it's just my weird analytical brain that's like, I don't get this. What are we doing?
Oh no, you're
here?
not the only one. Trust me, I bitch about shit like this all the time, right? Like there are some points where my brain will just jump to an assumption of how things probably work, and then other times where I'm like, I can't ignore this. This bothers me too much.
And I think it was also that the first exam where it's like you take the exam and it was like she was immediately failed because she didn't have like her crew, but it was like we don't know that conversation was ever had with the character. So I'm like, what's the point? Why can't we just have the beginning of this episode be them like explaining the exam, and then you can have all those moments where you meet all the characters and houses and she interacts with everybody without like this weird her not realizing she needed something that she probably would have been told she needed.
Yeah, I think the idea is to like just highlight more of Soletta's awkwardness. I think that's the only reason.
Which I do love. I love her weird, quirky awkwardness and like not knowing what a tomato is. It's fucking adorable.
What's a tomato?
And also that fucking tomato, because the tomato's in my notes, because she takes a bite of that tomato. She takes a bite of that tomato, and I'm like, what the fuck is on the inside of that tomato?
Brandon,
and
don't tell him what
why does it look so delicious?
Don't tell him about Food Wars.
Oh, I know about Food Wars. Don't you worry. That's one of the top 5 for me, baby. That show is fantastic. And anime always finds a way to make food way more delicious looking than it ever would be. Because, like, I love a tomato, but never have I bitten into a tomato and been like, oh, this is so succulent and it looks so amazing. But, like, in an anime, they pull it off. It makes me want a tomato, but I know I won't.
To be fair, in this one, we do learn that Miorine's mom is the one that made this breed of tomatoes. So we have no idea what the fuck this actually tastes like.
And I'd also, like, I'd like to meet the moms of this world, because at this point, for me anyway, I only know one mom, and that's our main character's mother. Like, you see all these other like characters and their fathers, like powerful, wealthy businessmen, if you will. Where the mom's at? Where the MILF's at? That's what I'm trying to say.
I was about to say that. Beat me to it.
I
hold off on me, Gundam. Give me the MILFs.
I made a few things from Food Wars, and they were delicious.
Yeah, those recipes are intense.
The black pepper pork bun, oh, so good.
You're gonna make me hungry now.
You did share some of those with me. I can agree they were delicious.
You're gonna make me hungry and rewatch Food Wars.
Just go rewatch the key scenes. You need to have a life besides this.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
have children.
Just the scenes where the clothes are exploding off the body.
Exactly.
That show does a great job of telling you exactly what it's going to be right away in the very beginning of the show. They're like, hey, just so you know, this is what you're in for. So if you don't like this, don't stick around. And I was there for the whole plate.
And kind of in reverse, there was a hentai artist who made a comedy series, and it is hysterical.
Also, before we move on, like in the vein of not liking things about this show,
go on.
The CG is not that great at all. I'll have to say this. And there isn't much of it. I will say they use it very sparingly. There's not a ton of it.
There's not a lot.
It's very minimal, and it's in scenes that don't really matter. Like the suits are fighting in 2D, perfect. But every time it cuts to something in CG, it is for me anyway, it was so jarring where I was like, oh, that was a rough, like, 2-second scene of, like, a Gundam in a box shooting down a fucking tunnel.
Yeah, there are some scenes, and it happens, you know. We're on a TV show. We don't have the budget for big old CG stuff.
And I get it. You don't want to waste your budget where it doesn't matter. Like,
No,
don't give me...
You want to save that shit for the big fights.
Exactly. Which I can appreciate, but I had to point it out. Being the stickler that I am with CG, I had to point that out.
It's fully fair. I've done the same in the past.
And you tear into, like, plot holes when I...
Oh, yeah. Oh, I will rip plot holes asunder because they pissed me off.
Have you found any, like, major ones in the... Because for me, having gone through the first 5 episodes, like, other than the few gripes I have with, like, some exam stuff not making sense, and, like, I haven't seen any, like, major, massive plot holes. But again, I also haven't seen the rest of the season.
So there's still a lot that's kind of a mystery, so it's hard to really say. there's a 21-year gap between the prologue and when the series starts proper.
Mhm.
There's a
Half-
lot that could have happened in between that time, so it's super hard to say what could or could not be a plot hole.
Halfway through episode 3 notes, I also wrote, I want more fucking prologue. Like, I want more of that. Because as much as I'm enjoying the show and the season, like, I still do think what I got in the prologue, like, was the pinnacle for me. So it's like, I want to go back. Take me back to, like, that next week or those next
You're
moments.
going to get that by the end of season 1.
Okay, good, because I
You'll
want
get
that so bad. Like I love like weird political hostile takeover, like back and forth between houses. I love all that shit. Give it to me. I want to see the
You are
nitty gritty.
getting that for sure.
Okay,
You'll get
beautiful, beautiful.
Let me put it this way, man. The Earth Spatian thing is gonna get worse by the
Okay.
end of this.
Okay.
And Lady Prosperia.
Prospera.
But is Soletta Eric? Like, but you said there's a 21-year gap.
Yeah.
That would.
Oh, I'm glad you picked that up.
Oh, she like
'Cause that's what I picked up, and that made me think things.
yeah.
Yeah, but Soletta's like 16, 17. But
17.
that would make Eric in her mid-20s now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
AKA Robo MILF.
You think that the dark-haired woman with the mask and the mech arm is not the mom from the prologue?
At this point, halfway through, I think it is.
yeah,
Just
I think
solely
it is.
based on the fact of the time frame and like in my mind I justified the idea of her name being different as like I get it, you run away, like you don't want to be associated with your old life, so you don a new alias and go about your business as a Mercurian, you know what I mean?
Well, keep in mind she would also be talking to Delling, who might know her name.
Yes.
Yes, but
True. Very
she,
true.
she was building a Gundam in the prologue, and
Mhm.
now with the shit, I forgot the name of the the Ariel. She's like, oh, I didn't say I was building a Gundam. I just said it's not a Gundam.
Mm-hmm.
And also her saying that like she grew up with her Gundam, where it's like, okay, I get that in the sense that like her mom is calling them both her daughters or like her children, I think. I don't
Okay,
remember
all right.
the shoot, they were specific.
Yep,
So it's
go on.
like she was raised with this as a family member because her mother created it and it is one of her babies. Like they even say that in the prologue. They talk about like, oh, this is one of our children and we're trying to like teach it.
Mm-hmm.
That would make me interested about season 2. Will Eric come up in season 2?
She
Or
does.
is this like
I will confirm that now. She does.
Oh.
And is this the same Gundam too? Because I had that question originally where I'm like, it does all
No.
the same things the Gundam does. So like, is it the same one?
No. I believe the Ilfrith was purple?
Pink.
Oh, okay. And, like-
Ulfrith or Rubrus, depending on who's talking, because it seems to change names.
But you can also like refit them. No, like I don't know. I don't know Gundam,
could.
so I'm just fucking bullshitting as I go
Yeah,
in my
who's to
own mind.
say- I mean, well, one, the Ilfrith lost an arm before it managed to escape, so it would have to be rebuilt at least somewhat somehow.
New paint job, new name, new alias for your robot. Come on.
Well, and I mean, if this is the Ilfrith, just rebuilt, you've had 21 years to rework it and change it around over that time period. Who's to say it would look anything like it did prior?
I hadn't even thought about the idea that it was like that girl in the beginning of the prologue ends up not being the main character. Like it honestly hadn't crossed my mind until you mentioned that. But now I'm starting, my theories are caving in on itself.
Ooh. Do you want me to make it cave in even more? Do you want me to start doing reveals of what I cemented as my thoughts?
Yes. I'm sure like at some point we're going to get past where I am, which is fine by me.
You definitely are if I'm revealing this bit.
Yes.
And before you say that, Brandon, and more talking about the Ariel, and designs of Gundams, Chris, or not?
Not necessarily designs. Like I said, going into this, the only thing I knew was like Gundams were cool robot mechs that I would play with when I was a child.
Okay,
Mhm.
but
Much like Zoids.
Mm.
I
But
did like Zoids.
most of the lead hero Gundams, or like the main Gundam of the series, that I've seen at least, has a design similar coloration to the Ariel with like blue torso, red shoes with bits of gold sprinkled on it, but like that's the main coloration that a lot of Gundams are.
And to be fair, they're all designed similarly, except for like I will say like some of the other ones that I've started seeing from like other families and businesses, if you want to call. I don't know whether they call them families or businesses. I guess it's the same thing.
So, which is kind of weird in that way, in that like it's gone in a completely different direction for thematic designs. Mostly through Gundam, you see a lot of similar designs throughout. Of
Yeah, like thin
right,
winged blades and stuff, and it's
boxy
like
chest, you know,
Mhm.
shit like that. This thing has gone in a completely different direction, and that's part of the reason why I was interested in it too. Was just these look different than just your regular box Gundams, where they've slightly changed like the shoulder armor, and that's it.
And it seemed, well, to me at least, in like the Universal Century ones, the mono-eyed Gundams are typically from the evil faction, while the like humanoid two-eyed Gundams or two-eyed mechs are usually the heroic faction.
The good guys.
So before I make any real reveals here, let's just tackle what you've got on your list there first.
So there isn't a whole lot left. I mean, I have it broken down by episode. So like the turn for me with Ghoul, that poor fucking boy. God. The turn for me is the end of episode 3 when he's like loses the second duel and proposes to her, which was great. Icing on
Just
the cake.
out of nowhere.
And honestly, his eyes too, like really well well done on like the animation there, and like getting the emotion across in that like half a second frame where like his eyes shift and he like
It just dawns on him.
you can see the moment where he's like, damn, this bitch knows what's up. Like I respect that as from like a design and animation standpoint, and the message was like hammer home.
I am super curious though, like what specifically sparks it in him, because I believe when we see him and his eyes widen like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we get a look at what Soletta looks like, at least not from his perspective.
For me, I don't think it was necessarily had anything to do with her in that moment. It was less so about her physically and more about what she said to him before, and then his interaction with his father, and then him like pushing back and him taking his his step forward, which I also have in my notes. How fucking great of a message that is. Like that one's going to my children. I do this regularly, where I will take things from an anime and be like, I got to teach this to my kids, because goddamn, what a great way to fucking present a message.
I don't know if you want to keep that, but okay.
Oh yeah.
At this point, I like the idea of it. It just speaks to me in some way, shape, or form. And I think in that moment, like that was his moment where he's like, I'm gonna take my step forward. I don't give a fuck. Like I'm taking control. I'm gonna fight. So when she gets out of the mech and says what she says, it like solidifies it in his mind, where he's like, oh, I do have more confidence in myself. Like I am, you know what I mean? Like that, and that's what made him like, I actually like really like this chick.
So the actual message of that motto is good. I like it. It's a really good message. The message itself it's used for ulterior purposes as well.
That's fair. It's still worth, I think in the design of how the characters use it early on, I'll say, I think it tells a really good message, and it's a good way to like.
I don't.
It's not a bad way to like look at things, where you're like, if I turn and run here, like I'm not really gonna gain anything extra. So like, I like that. I like that. That helps me in real life. Anything I can take to real life from an anime, I run with it.
I felt so bad for Girl once she just gets so terrified and runs away.
Hold on. There's just one thing I wanted to bring up now that I'm thinking of Ghoul. What about in that one moment, right, where he's like harassing Yorine at the start when we first meet him, and rather than slap him on the back of the head, Soletta literally slaps his ass.
But what she says though, too, where she's like, "Did your mom not teach you?" Like she's doing the mom thing there. She's like, "I'm gonna spank you on the ass because you're not treating a lady right." I like that. I thought that was great. I was like, perfect.
My first thought was like, was that on purpose? I don't know.
It makes sense for her character too, because she's not the type to like punch a dude in the face. You know what I mean?
She's not choo-choo.
But she knows what it means to be a good mom. So like thematically, it works for her because she's like a good mom would like smack him on his butt and be like, weren't you raised better than this?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I was like, it fits. It fits the character. It's perfect.
I just found it funny that it was his ass.
Yes, it was.
I'm like, what the fuck?
You get that sense from the other characters too in that scene where they're like, did she just smack him on the ass?
Mm-hmm.
And just going back to Lady Prospera for just a minute, she was saying, "Oh, I had so much burns on my head from space radiation. I need to wear this mask." She
That's
takes off the
bullshit.
mask, no burns, completely
Hot.
normal face.
Hot. Lied. She lied. Which, you know what? That might lend more toward the theory of like wanting to hide her face from our evil old wizard.
Yes,
Mhm.
that's what I was thinking.
The Grand Vizier.
Yes, the Grand Vizier. Exactly.
Any other notes you got yet before we start breaking past episode 5?
Other than there was the episode 3. Like I remember the weird feeling where like I'm like, damn, why do I want Ghoul to win this duel right now? I remember feeling that where I'm like, damn, this show just made me want him to win against the main character. In that moment where I'm like, damn, Ghoul,
got to take your 2 steps forward.
yeah, dude, he's taking his lumps, dude, taking his lumps. I think that's it for me. Like we've touched on like everything up to where I am. Now it's time to just let the floodgates loose.
All right, so
Oh boy.
So he loses to Ellen. That's the last thing you saw in episode 5.
Yes, he takes that. What I'm going to assume is his final L because Pops ain't having it.
His repercussions for that is, like you thought, he gets kicked out of the house, and we find him like camping somewhere.
Honestly, I'd be disappointed if he wasn't, because like the character that is his father, like that man, he ain't having it.
Nope. His little brother gets put in charge.
Yeah, and there are a few lines too from villains that I really, really like, where it's like Delling says to one of his like subordinates, one of his underling assistant guys, where he's like, "I've got 2 guys to guard your daughter. Do you want to meet them?" And he's like, "What's the point? You know not to waste my time." I'm like, that's a badass line. He's like, "I don't need to check. You know, you don't fuck with me." And I'm like, perfect. That's all you got to say.
Oh man. Right. So what ends up happening is that Ghoul goes back to the house. Literally, some like I guess employee of the house or what have you throws a suitcase at him. And he's like, "You had a message from your father. Just be happy. I'm not taking away your tuition. You have been expelled from the house. Your brother is taking over, essentially.
You don't live here no more."
Yeah, you don't live here no more. You're out." So he starts camping out somewhere.
Oh, that's great. Just pitches a tent right outside the school.
I think he's in like one of the schoolyards somewhere, camped out, like in a little foresty area.
Oh man, I'm telling you, he's coming back. Like he has to. They've done too much work on his redemption in that moment where he like. There's a W coming for my man at some point.
Well, it gets better later because his father changes his mind and is like, "I'm repulling you from the school. You're going to work in one of the subsidiary companies."
Oh no.
And he's like, "Fuck that," and essentially disappears off the grid as far as his father's concerned.
You gotta run the Jetter packaging company.
Well, he starts like calling himself Bob, and he's getting like he's working in like some of the transport areas of the school.
Clocking in 9 to 5. He went from king shit to fucking peasant.
Literally named Bob.
That's great.
So Brandon, what was your reaction that Ellen isn't the real Ellen?
So here's the one thing we learn, right? Ellen and Soletta have their duel. Soletta does win.
I could have already guessed that without even going into it. I mean, the main character isn't losing their fucking Gundam. It ain't happening.
And one of the things we learn about Ellen is that he's not who he seems. And
they do mention it in the previous episode, like in episode 4, I think it is, or actually it might be episode 5.
I
where he
have
says
this.
his face is in his own.
Yes, I have this feeling that this Ellen that we have seen since the start of the series, might have been that woman's son.
Oh.
Which woman?
The one that was doing the checkup on him.
Oh, the one who's old homies with Lady Prospera.
Prospera. I think so.
Okay,
Oh.
okay.
Either that, well, the way she talks to him without actually revealing anything, makes me feel like that might have been the case.
Well, even like for them to be old homies, I forget. I wish I would have written it down. But when they're questioning Lady Prospera about the suit as to whether or not it's a Gundam, they're bringing up like whether she's affiliated with some group, which I wasn't clear on if that was the group from the prologue.
It is.
It's
the group from the prologue.
Okay, yep. So if they're old homies, that means they were adult-ish or maybe teenage-ish when they lived at that time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, well, if Prospera is the mother from there, which later on she does reveal that that's her name. Whether or not that's a lie, take a guess.
Okay.
Considering the fact that like she's lost her tan and dyed her hair a different color.
Yeah, and like when she pulls her arm off, I'm like, okay, like
you got the mecha arm.
Yeah, it's the same arm, so I guess that's her. That was in my mind where my mind went.
So yeah, we've got that kind of like little reveal there about her actually being like, or at least saying she has the same name. So there's a callback to the prologue. You know that little happy birthday thing you were all excited about?
Yeah, I don't know if excitement is the word, but yes.
Well, that comes back.
Oh no!
Is during that fight, Suletta starts singing "Happy Birthday" to Ellen.
Is she crying?
She is not crying.
I was saying, because if she's crying, I'm crying. You feel me?
However, it awakens like Ellen's memories, I want to say, that had been buried for so long, of like a mother giving him his first birthday cake or whatever.
Okay. Does he crack a smile?
He starts crying.
Oh, I'm gonna be crying too. God damn. Maybe not necessarily with that one, because usually it's when it has to do with children and parents and mothers and fathers is when it gets me.
It's worse because
Ellen doesn't remember any birthdays because
this, yes.
Yeah, and he's like, okay, if we win this duel, I'm taking your Gundam, and Celeste says like, hey, if I win, you tell me more about yourself.
Well, and during the fight, he like starts shouting shit at her because he's so pissed off. But anyway, the end of it is like we see the Ellen that we know, like Ellen and Suletta, I guess at some point off camera had been like, oh, we're going to meet up at this time,
Mm-hmm.
Suletta's sitting there on a bench in the park, just like waiting for him to show up. Ellen doesn't show up. And we cut to like Peel, which is the company that he has, right?
Yeah.
Literally sending him to his death.
Oh.
We can't handle losers here.
Those creepy motherfuckers too, by the way, with their weird smiles and like just the weird head shapes. I don't like them. I'm gonna.
Well, it gets better because as they're doing that, he's singing "Happy Birthday" because it's the one memory he has that's his own.
Oh gosh.
And then Suletta's also humming it at the same time as they cut back and forth to them.
Maybe knowing this going in, it's not going to hit me as hard because seeing that cold would probably have gotten me again.
Maybe.
Especially like I get a little stoned too. Like I'm a little, and I'm just like, I'm right in the pocket and oh no. The waterworks are coming. So
there's that. I'm trying to think what is it? They have like this big thing about making companies, like startup companies there at one point. To the point where like Peel reveals like the truth that the Ariel is in fact a Gundam with like hard evidence to back it up, and basically set up Suletta to like unintentionally reveal it herself.
Well, is there no like repercussions outside of the Peel Corporation or family, like for Ellen piloting a Gundam? Because doesn't he? I could have swore he says it out loud when he's fighting. He's like, "You need a Gundam to beat a Gundam." So it's like, I thought that was like illegal and not okay.
They do. He does. And as a result, part of the reason is they reveal during this thing that Soletta has a Gundam and that it's a real Gundam.
Okay,
And they're like,
okay.
look, we did it was wrong. We'll let you scrap it. We'll destroy it and turn over all the research we have on it. It's perfectly fine.
And this was the
As long as you
actual
scrap
Ellen.
the aerial with it, too. And
Okay.
expel Soletta.
Oh. So the Gundam's being made illegal. Because the way the show like paints this picture is that it's like it's our main baddie, Delling. Like he's being a little shady and like under the guise of hey, it's killing pilots, which is also not a good thing. Like gonna throw that out there. Kind of not cool that they're doing this.
Yep.
I remember thinking that in the prologue where I'm like, it is kind of fucked up. I get that. So like I don't know.
So he may be justified under his actions of saying Gundams are illegal.
But then we also cut to him now, however many years later, he is like what is seemingly a much more powerful person. My guess is based on that directly. You know what I mean?
Mega corporations, yes.
Yeah, so it's like it seems like a way to shut down your competition. You know what I mean? Because they're about to like do something way better than you can do.
And once it's revealed that the Ariel is a Gundam, Minorine steps in, and since this is a incubation party, quote unquote, for businesses, she says, I'm going to start my own business where we will research Gundams for the better of human good.
Okay.
Called Gundam.
Okay.
Bringing that name back.
Here's the interesting bit. She says she's also going to buy up all of Peel's research and development teams to do this.
Okay.
As well as Soletta's mom's company.
So
she needs to get people to invest.
Nobody wants to do it.
However, due to an earlier conversation with Soletta's mother, in which, you know, it was very tense, she realizes that she needs to, like, swallow her pride to a degree and get her dad to give her some money
to fund the thing that he made illegal,
to start the investment. And by doing so, she kind of also boxes him in as like, are you going to shut down your daughter in front of literally everyone?
Okay. There was a bit of that moment. I think it was episode 4, maybe.
Yes, there's more of the like counter manipulation coming from Miorine in this,
which I like. I love that. Like, oh, give me more of it.
Like, I think that's what she's slowly learning is just like, how do I counter like manipulate people? Like, I've been manipulated my entire life. How do I become the manipulator myself?
And I think that also, you know what? That goes back to the saying, like, because all these people are meeting. They're meeting Soletta, and it's like she's kind of like imparting her weirdness and like her take on life to people, and then they're all just like, "Yeah, fuck all this. I'm gonna rise to the occasion." That attitude is infectious, and I like it.
Yeah.
Well, end of that episode. The company is now funded. Everyone has invested. They now have a company to build in the next few episodes.
So we're taking away a little bit from the Gundam school battles into let's form a business anime now.
Okay.
Startup company.
Okay. But isn't Gundam they're not illegal anymore? Like Gundams are okay now?
Kind of? Question mark?
So far with this company, yes, but it is getting directly overseen.
Okay.
By Delling.
Well, I'm guessing, do they use the idea that like Soletta's Gundam doesn't like harm her in any way? Like, what? I'm sure that has to play a part.
That was part of the justification for forming the company and researching why.
Where it's like, listen, guys, we can have dope Gundams and don't have to worry about downsides.
Literally, that's one of Miorine's points. Is like, look, she's piloted a Gundam, she's still alive. What's the issue here? As far as everyone else knows, Ellen is still alive because he's up there with her. Or, you know, the original Ellen.
Well, okay. Because the Ellen we know, that I know anyway.
The Ellen we've known is dead. Okay. However, the original Ellen which is the one I think this is, unless this is just another copy and I'm not aware of this.
I'm thinking this is the original.
But he's
Yeah.
like changed in some way to be able to not die to the Gundam, but it still like fucks him up? Question mark.
So, as far as I can tell, he has the ability to go further than most with a Gundam, but there is a point at which he will die if he goes that far.
Yeah, and I guess each level you go to is like how much more connected you are to the machine. I would assume
That's my assumption. Yes, yeah. Because it's never directly stated, but it seems to be that's the implied thing. But yeah, what is it? The copy went up to I think 3 during their fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Does
yeah,
Soletta is she going Gundam mode? I guess because
she does not like. We don't know. Here's the thing. She never
is it a
starts
thing
out
that you have to
level.
do intentionally? Is it like I have to go Gundam mode now, or is it just like is it always
That's what I
happening?
don't know because she talks about hearing everyone when she's in the aerial, right? Or hearing the aerial's voice.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming she's doing it unconsciously and not realizing it. That said, we see like markings show up on Ellen's face when he's like going in, kind of like we saw on Soletta's dad.
Yeah.
Right? You don't see that on Soletta.
No, never, not at all.
So I don't know.
Huh.
I can't guarantee she's not doing it subconsciously.
Or
or
like
if
something
it's
about
something
being
else.
raised with it, and so it's like you
Yeah,
have this deeper connection.
yeah. Or if it's
Because it
something
kind of
else.
felt
I'm
that
not
way in the
sure.
prologue too, where it's
Mhm.
like this little child connects like her mom and her mom's.
Well, yeah, you saw actually in Eric. You
Mhm.
saw her, and she had like blue ones.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Whereas with everyone else, like Ellen here, it's like a
red.
red orange. So
Hmm.
I'm not sure what the difference is, or the significance is of the color difference.
Hopefully, it'll be revealed in some delicious way.
Not really, not yet, anyway.
Well, eventually. I mean, I'm in for season 2 after what I've seen so far.
I'm sure it will get revealed. It just hasn't been yet, as far as I've seen.
I do like Company Simulator, though. I'm excited for Company.
Well, hey, look, Yorine just jumps into Earth House and is like, "You're all my employees now." You can imagine
Okay.
how well that goes with Choo Choo.
Yeah, you Earthians are now. I'm now going to oppress you like the rest of your people. Please come work in my factory.
No, she actually lets it up to them for the most part. Honestly, like she directs them and where to go and which parts to work on, but otherwise it's up to them to do what they need to do to get it done.
So, are they building a new Gundam? Is that what the idea
No, they actually like have this argument, and none of the none of the Earthians in Earth House are like, other than one is like, what do we do with this? Like, none of us want to turn Earth into a potential battlefield again by making weapons and selling them.
Mm-hmm.
The one guy's like, it's a mech suit. What else do we do?
Yeah.
So that's when they find a video that was provided by the woman who used to work with Soletta's mom, the one that's at Peel. A video of the grandma from the prologue.
Yeah.
Showing off what their original plan for the gun system was.
Ooh.
Artificial limbs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So they literally decide that's what we're going to do. We're going to use Gundam technology for medical purposes. Which ends up resulting in a pair of, like, walking legs that Soletta pilots at one point.
Okay.
Need to do an obstacle course.
Yeah, got to do an obstacle course. Make sure it can work.
And let's film you, like, YouTuber style, just, like, walking along.
Oh, yeah, they make it, like, a really ridiculous and, like, cringy PR video, too.
I like it.
Oh, Gundam.
Yeah, they have a little theme song that's really stupid.
It can dance, it can walk, it's a Gundam.
Essentially, yeah.
So what's the ultimate goal here, then?
Make people see Gundams in a positive light.
I'm guessing it doesn't end positively, though. Like, if I have to assume this season isn't ending on a happy note.
Oh, it's not.
There's no way. Like, I've learned anything thus far, it is we get our high and then we're going low, baby.
It's tragically successful, we'll say.
Yeah.
Especially the very, very last post-credit scene.
Yeah, there are post-credit scenes if you hadn't seen.
I've
Sandman.
been watching the post-credit scenes. Yeah.
You're definitely gonna want to see like episode 10 and 12s for sure. You don't want to lose that one.
Which we might not say.
It's up to you whether or not you want us to reveal that part, man.
You don't necessarily need to. Like, I'm fine waiting.
Okay.
All right.
Unless you feel like you have to.
I don't want to because that last one is such a fucking like shock value alone. Anyway, Mjolnir has been like working on this club on the business. She had to take a business trip for a while to like try and get more backers or something like that. I forget what the actual reason was. In the meantime, she's like, Soletta, I need you to, watch over my garden, while I'm gone. Someone needs to water all these tomatoes.
These delicious tomatoes.
Don't eat all of them. Whatever you do.
Was this before or after the 6-on-6 battle?
Oh, right. No. This was after. So good old Shattuck, Mr. Tan with blonde hair man, right? Remember him?
Yep.
He starts making his move of like, I'm going to get the aerial. It's going to be mine.
Okay.
And apparently he and Mjolnir used to be childhood friends. And in fact, by the end of this, where he gets beaten on where some of the Earthians some of the Earth House gets brought in to help fight this 6-on-6. And in fact, probably the best part of it is that like they get all taken out almost all at once at the start, and the aerial is having to fight like 1-on-6 and manages to like deal with most of them until Shattuck gets the upper hand at the very end. And at that point, all of the Earthians have like helped prop up their mech suits so that Choo-Choo can take a final shot and take it out. And thus Shattuck's whole plan of like dueling to get it fails there.
So I'm glad the duels keep going.
Throughout
the show.
Oh yeah.
I think the 6-on-6 fight may have been my favorite fight of the season.
It's a good fight. It's a very good fight. But as a result, the aerial is like severely damaged, so it's getting repairs. I think that's actually part of the reason why Mjolnir was out on that business trip.
Because there is a time jump between 9 and 10.
It's like a couple of months.
I think 2.
Yeah, it's a couple of months because they're like... That comes up actually in season 2, where it's like she has literally for lack of a better term, like a boss rush kind of situation.
What?
Well, she's got all these piled up challenges, and apparently she has to accept at least 2 per week as the holder, right?
Huh.
But because the aerial is getting fixed, she couldn't do anything about that. So due to certain extenuating circumstances, those got built up over the 2 months or so that the aerial was getting fixed.
So she maintains the holder position.
She does maintain the holder position. She does not lose that. I'm sure at some point she will. I feel like it's inevitable that she has to lose at some point and have to get it back.
Whether it's in season 2 or potentially season 3.
Or further on. Either one. I feel like it has to happen at some point.
Yeah, we have no idea how long this is going to go on for.
I do have one question that has to do with Gundams.
Yes.
Okay.
That I saw in my notes that I forgot about, which was the idea of the like permit, which I'm not exactly sure. Like I have ideas on what it might be, but like it's not really clear, and I'm just like spitballing in my mind.
I'm assuming it's short for something. I don't know what.
I'm thinking some kind of resource that they're like either mining or harvesting in some way that like.
Actually, now that you say that, didn't what's her name? Didn't like Prospera mention like that's how she lost it, was mining for like in a mining accident for the permit on
Yes.
So it is a resource of some kind. So I don't know.
But like when they're scanning the Gundams too, it's like the permit level is like rising.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so is it like some kind of energy source or something? Like I don't know.
Yeah, it's something. I'm not sure.
I didn't know if that was a Gundam thing, but that might
As
come
far
up
as
later.
I know, I think it's unique to this series
Okay,
Mhm.
because I don't remember ever hearing about it before.
I'll be on the lookout for it then in
And
season 2.
maybe it has something to do with like the biomerging.
I assume it does, but like, I think it's in all mech suits to a certain degree.
Hmm.
I just think it's used maybe differently in the Gundam.
I assumed that's what was causing like the whatever was killing the pilots too, because it's like whatever this energy source is that is required to power this fucking thing.
So they mentioned something like data storms, right? And I think it's in brain overload is
Okay.
from those data storms is what's
Yeah.
killing them.
And was there anything like that at all in G? Because
Nope.
Okay, because I know in G your body movements were recreated by the Gundam.
Yeah, it was just one of those like fuck, what are they called? The same thing that you do when you get like animations based on people's movements when they have all those balls all over themselves.
Motion capture.
That's it. It's basically just motion capture.
Motion
It's
capture
just-
mech suit.
It's just your motions are streamed to the Gundam. An animated rig.
Yeah, but I just thought that with you being tied to the Gundam in that way, maybe there'd be some crossover with like, oh, he's pushed himself too far and he became like messed up in some way.
I don't think so. Like the worst we see there is like they're literally wearing a skin tight suit when they're in G, right?
Hmm.
And the suit doesn't even cover the head; it only goes up to like the neck. And even then, like if they would lose an arm or something, like you can see it's like somewhat painful, but it's not anything that's like, oh fuck, I feel like my arm's been ripped apart.
Kind of like Evangelion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so they're gonna go get the aerial, which means all of Earth House is coming along as well as Mjolnir, and apparently Delling is heading to this place too, where the aerial's being rebuilt.
Uh-oh.
And,
We know he's not up to anything happy.
well, we also see Ghoul's daddy has been having a little chit chat with some people on Earth for some reason. So it's not looking good. Apparently, also Ghoul's headed there too, except he's Bob now.
Bob Ghoul is about to take another L on Earth. Oh no.
Oh, no. He's going to the factory, like a space factory. That's
Okay,
not
okay.
not on Earth. They're like, yeah, we just got to deliver supplies to this factory over here. It's like, all right, cool. He's having a good time with his new his new coworkers.
All right.
He's actually having a decent time, even if he's just called Bob now.
And
So where's our turn here? Where does it get? Where did we go south?
how much do you like Shattuck?
Not a lot.
Okay,
You're not
then.
gonna like him anymore. Not now, and not in season 2.
He is working with terrorists.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I believe they're called what? The Dawn Star?
Dawn of the Fold.
Dawn
So
of
are
the
these
Fold.
Earthians, like Earthian
Yep.
terrorist organization?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Shattuck is also working with Ghoul's daddy to like get this to work out. They're
And
gonna lax out the security on the place.
potentially murder Daling?
That's the main goal, and kill Delling.
Yeah, well, that's not a surprise considering they were already plotting that and nearly carried it out. So, like,
Yep. Well, here's the downside. Here's another L for Ghoul. The terrorists end up being like, "Hey, we're gonna take your ship here, and just take over for a bit.
oh no,
Throw you in the brig here, and
Bob in
you'll
the
just,
brig.
well, you'll just pilot it like it's normal, like we're just going to the factory. It's no big deal. All you got to do is just take us there. No problems. Just act like everything's normal."
All right, so we got Shattuck the terrorist now.
Shattuck working with terrorists, yes.
Mm-hmm.
As they get closer, we're having like a what was it? What was the lovers' quarrel between her and? I remember. So Soletta's having like a personal issue here, where like she starts thinking everyone doesn't like her and shit because of like some lines I think the new Ellen mentions to her.
Mhm.
and it starts like planting seeds of doubt in her head.
And this is an Ellen that she doesn't know is a different Ellen, right?
Nope, nobody realizes it's a different Ellen.
Okay.
Although they do mention that like seems to have changed since that fight. That's weird.
Um,
Oh well,
he's
it's just Ellen. He's weird.
technically Ellen number 5.
Yes, because the one we've been talking to has been, I guess, the 4th one so
Mhm.
far.
Yeah, because they called him like number 4. I remember.
Yeah. And because Mirnorine was saying, "Oh, I hired a professional company to care for my tomatoes," like a professional
Right.
gardener.
Yeah. Because Soletta comes rushing in because she sees 2 people in there that aren't supposed to be in the garden, and starts shoving them away. And then Mjorne's like, "What the hell are you doing?"
I
hired
hired these
them-
people.
Yeah, it's like she thinks Mjorne doesn't trust her anymore. Essentially,
Okay.
And
like
that there
I
was
think
something.
at this point, Soletta has actually developed feelings for Mjorne. At
Really?
this point, it seems like it. Whether or not she realizes that's exactly what it is, who knows?
And there was like something else going on with Earth House and like the Gundam company that they're like, "Oh, Sletta, we'll take care of this. You go off and do another job." And this was my job. Oh, nobody needs me at here either.
Yep. There's a point where like they're getting lunches up on the factory, right? And everyone grabs everything, and there's nothing left for her except for like a drink.
Oh, is it on the roof?
No, they're at the
Okay.
factory, so there's no roof.
Okay.
They're in
No.
a space factory.
No, I must
That was a
have
callback to her
miscounted.
list of things to do.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was eat lunch on the roof.
I
She
must have
ends up, like-
miscounted. Oh.
Yeah, she ends up sitting in the toilet drinking it alone, sad, thinking it's
Damn.
all her fault that she miscounted. When in fact, somebody accidentally grabbed a second lunch for someone that had already gotten one.
So she's all up in that teen angst.
Yep. It gets to the point where Mjorne confronts her, is like, "You fucking idiot, you're the whole reason I've built this company, you're the whole reason, blah, blah, blah. Sad, punch you in the gut because I'm so angry, sad.
We all love you.
And then hug, don't leave me."
Classic
So is this before
tsundere.
the whole? Is this before the traveling and the Delling plot and all this other stuff?
This is during.
Okay.
This is happening before shit fully goes down.
So
but this
Delling is
during
heading to
that.
Earth. You said.
Delling is heading to this factory.
Okay, factory.
And in fact, meets with Prospera at one point about a project called, what was it, Zero something?
Quite zero.
Quiet Zero, that's what it was. And about, it's something that they've been apparently working on together, which I find interesting, and might also lead to be why he was a bit more lenient with the aerial.
Yeah.
Because it seems that even though Daling outlawed Gundams and that Prospera hates Daling, they seem to are working together for some reason.
There's whether or not everything she says is true, there's a small reveal in season 2 about what that is.
Yeah, because I'm thinking that Prospera is working with him for ulterior motives because of what he did to her 21 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So does the plot on him succeed?
Yes and no.
Mm.
Yes and no. It does not happen the way they want it to, and it's not fully successful. So what ends up happening is the terrorists get in, they launch their suits, and in fact some of them have taken some of the ghouls company, Jeturk, they've taken the Jeturk suits as well that were being brought in, and start launching an attack on the factory, literally just randomly blowing shit up regardless of who's there. And we find out that apparently, I think this is revealed a little bit earlier, but we find out that apparently Nika is a part of this group to a certain degree.
Yeah,
Family
She's,
ties to the terrorists?
unintentionally.
Nika's an orphan, but Sheddick has employed her as a go-between and a mole, I guess you could say, in the corporation. And in fact, it seems like he's had his hands on her since before the series started.
No. That poor innocent girl.
And going to the terrorist group for just a minute,
Yep.
my third favorite girl is Sophie.
Well, don't get too attached.
Oh, she dies sometime early in season 2.
Yep.
Oh, damn it.
I was shocked when that happened because I'm like, I felt like you built this girl up pretty hard, and now
Yeah,
she's dead.
but like, she was a psychopath, but at the same time, like, there was just something about her that she's having so much fun being evil.
Having so much fun just letting loose.
Like, when there's an evil villain that's like having so much fun, and you're a horrible person. Why are you taking pleasure in this? There's just something about characters like that I just love to hate to love.
Mm-hmm.
Like shit, the Yandere in Boku no Hero.
Fuck, I'm blanking on her name.
Chris,
one?
help us
What?
out. The
What do
Yandere
they look like?
The knife girl, the one that drinks blood.
Oh, Toga.
Toga,
Yes.
Himiko Toga, that's her.
Yes, like she is one of my favorite characters there because she's having so much fun being evil.
Yeah, somebody who enjoys their work.
Yes.
Really puts their passion into it.
Oh. But yeah, they're starting to unload. And at this point we realize that at least 2 of these characters, Sophie here and I forget what the other girl's name is.
Noria.
Noria. Okay, thank you. Are both piloting Gundams with the name Ilfrith in it.
So what
Ilfrith.
does that mean?
Ilfrith Ur and Ilfrith Thorn.
So are these like different versions of that Gundam?
They look dramatically different than that Gundam. Like, dramatically different.
But does that imply some tie with like?
I would assume that someone survived the attack 21 years ago and deposited the info to build it.
I mean, it makes sense too. To like, if there's a connection there where it's like, hey, you didn't get everybody, motherfucker, and we're still pissed.
Mm-hmm. Either that or someone was transmitting the data on it prior to the attack anyway.
Yeah.
As a backup plan or
Mhm.
something. Either way, they have the tech, apparently, to get them built, but at this point, only 2. Whether or not there's more, who knows?
So are these Gundams killing them or no? Or are these new good Gundams that don't kill people?
Well, they're going through the same shit that you saw the father going through in the prologue.
Okay, yeah, so they're getting fucked
Yep.
up in these Gundams.
Yep.
Okay.
Except
And-
Sophie does manage to go level 4.
So I was about to say, no, you didn't see it. So there is a thing that they call antidote, which essentially is like an EMP specifically for Gundams almost. Apparently, this antidote only will work up to permit score level 3, and if they go past that, it's an override almost on that. Actually, you know what? No, I think you did see it in the prologue. You saw a little bit of the antidote happening.
Did I?
I think
I
you did.
Don't remember it specifically.
I think it was when Ilfrith loses its arm, is because it got shut down for a second.
Okay.
Or maybe it was one of the other ones, like the father or one of the other girls that was piloting. Either way,
Trying to avenge her friend.
yeah, that one. I think it was that one actually that got shut down and then killed.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently because they were only like at score 2, I think, at that point. But yes, you can override it if you hit permit score 4. Anyway, they're like slamming all the defensive Gundams that are coming, or the defensive mechs that are coming in to try and stop them. To the point where, here's the thing. Sheddick had betrayed Ghoul's daddy and launched the attack ahead of the time when he was supposed to have gotten out of there. So daddy comes out with his own mech suit. In the meantime, Ghoul has managed to like get himself out of the prison and knock someone out and hijacked one of the other mobile suits.
Okay. Our boy's back in a mech.
Your boy's back in a mech. And then just so happens his daddy and his daddy's group comes in and starts slashing away at the mechs that are around that ship. And in fact, daddy mistakes Ghoul's thing for an enemy suit. And Ghoul ends up killing daddy
Oh no.
after a struggle of like, I don't want to die.
So, and he doesn't know it's his dad when he's fighting him?
Not until his dad opens transmissions between themselves.
And does he kill him after he knows, or like accidentally before?
Accidentally before.
Oh, so this is a moment for
Yep.
boy.
And it's the last moment you see him.
And they drift off into space.
Well, Daddy's mech explodes. Not sure what happens to Ghoul after that.
Yeah.
Have you
that's
seen him in
right.
season 2 or no?
Nope, not at all.
He's out there somewhere.
He's somewhere. As far as I can tell, since you haven't seen him die, he's alive.
He's plotting his comeback.
He's plotting his comeback. He's totally not depressed and willing to kill himself now.
Nah, dude, I'm telling you, he's about to take a step forward.
Oh, for sure.
He's somewhere out there, like the little mouse says.
He's on Mars right now, growing potatoes.
Somewhere
Alright, so Delling?
out there.
So yes, the fight, the plot on Delling. So as this is going down, everything's getting shut down. In fact, while this is happening, Mjolnir and Soletta get separated. Like one of the lockdown doors shuts, cutting them off from each other. Soletta prior had gotten word from her mom about where the aerial was at, so she starts climbing through vents to get there. And Mjolnir, at the same time, is trying to figure out a way to open that door and get Soletta to her again, not knowing that Soletta has moved on.
Mm-hmm.
And as she's running to get there, she runs into Daddy Delling.
Papa Delling.
And Papa Delling. And that point, right around that point, is when one of the Gundams, I forget which one, starts attacking that section and causes like rubble and shit to just crash down all around them.
It was Sophie, because she's like...
Was it Sophie? Okay.
Yeah, it's like, hey, that girl, she pilots the aerial. I want to meet her so badly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because she's been watching the stupid PR video and seeing like the stream of the aerial taking on 6.
She's excited for a fight. I know I'm gonna like her already.
Oh yeah, she's hyper excited. She's got that like battle thirst.
Yes. It's one of my favorite qualities in a woman, battle thirst. It's where my first marriage went wrong.
Oh.
So yeah, Mjolnir is then protected by Daddy Delling.
Okay.
And in fact, has taken shrapnel to his back, which had punctured, I think, his lung.
Ooh.
And as he's like passing out, he whispers something along the lines of like, "This is something that your mother wanted. You know, we always had a plan of who was the most likely to survive or something." So whatever happened with how Mjolnir's mother died, it was something where only one of the two of them were going to get out. And the best, most likely way of it working was Delling leaving and surviving.
So is he's not dead though, he's alive.
He is not dead. Mjolnir's like, "I'm not gonna fucking let you die."
Okay. Well, she wouldn't do that. That makes sense.
No, she basically finds a way to get him onto like a floating gurney and like wraps him up in gauze and shit.
So you alluded to the idea of him like turning, or at least having some kind of justification for his character.
It's that project we mentioned, the Quiet Zero project.
Okay.
Which you learned about in a little bit at least about in season 2 so far. So eventually, Soletta makes her way, almost gets to the hangar where the aerial's at, and she's like hiding around the corner as a bunch of people are walking around and think they hear something and start walking toward her. And as they do, her mom and the assistant of hers, I forget his name, basically pop off a bunch of pistols, killing the guys literally in front of her.
Oh.
And
she's
Soletta is
freaking out.
mortified.
She is freaking the fuck out.
Wait, Soletta's mom does this?
Yes.
Okay. Damn.
And her mom walks up to her and it's like, "Look, Soletta, if I hadn't done this, you know, you would have died. If I would have run, I would have gained 1 by gaining my life. But if I would have shot, you know, if I would have killed him, I would have gained 2.
Who did she shoot again?
Some of the other terrorists.
Terrorist.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, get over it, girl. Your mom's saving your fucking life.
Well,
Get over it.
You know, would have gained 2 by like you know, saving you and allowing you to pilot the aerial.
Yeah,
Save
see?
everyone.
Still a good message. I see no problem with this.
That is until Soletta gets a look in her eyes like almost, I want to say, hypnotism, almost.
Maybe?
Like you've triggered a sleeper agent or something,
Okay.
and they're like saying it at the same time. Like, yeah, you're right, Mom. The best way I can describe what I think has now happened is that like you've taken away any of Soletta's like social inhibitions, right? Anything that might be considered bad does not matter. You're going to do what you need to do get the job done
Yeah.
without even thinking about it.
Okay.
Because we see her pilot the new rebuilt Ariel and nearly murder everyone in her path to do so.
Oh shit.
Like she fights Sophie, nearly blasts those Gundams to pieces.
And is this like a new improved version, or is it just like rebuilt?
It's
Rebuilt.
rebuilt and it has new shit.
I wish I will say, I'm assuming, or I'm hoping anyway, that like in the later episodes I'll get to see it in fights.
I believe that like the way
Gonna
this is
do more
going,
cool shit.
the way this is going, this Gundam's going to evolve over the course of the series.
Okay.
Like it's going to get new versions of itself as the series goes on.
Because it can do cool things, and I see it do cool things, but then it'll do some like not as cool things, and I'm like, go back to doing all those really cool things.
Like with all the gun bits.
Yeah.
Well, let me put it this way: the thing that like basically means that the other, like the group, the terrorist group, ends up one backing off because of their time frame before backup shows up, and two because the Arrow's gonna fucking destroy them if they don't. Probably.
Yeah.
Is like all the gun bits attached to like a new beam rifle to become this massive fuck off weapon.
Oh hell yeah.
And it's like, I forget who says it, but someone's like, it's not even built for combat and it's putting out this much fucking energy? What the hell? So that is essentially how season 1 ends, barring the final end credits cutscene.
Okay, which I'm excited to get to.
Which,
Yeah.
you'll
It's
get
gonna
to
be
that.
a couple days though, because I pick up the kids tomorrow, so
You'll get to
I'll
it.
be
I'm
watching
sure.
Naruto with them tomorrow, and then we'll move on to that the day after.
You haven't? Oh, you're watching Boruto's dad. Got it.
Yes. The I see what you did there.
Just wait till the prequel where we're watching Boruto's grandpa.
Oh jeez. Another rabbit hole went that deep.
But
Keeps
I
going.
really love this series. Like, I enjoy Gundam, and I wish I would know more series.
Before we cap this off, do you want me to reveal the couple of things that season 2 has given me?
I would say no.
Do you not want to know about Eric?
I think
Or what I should say is, do you not want to know about my theory that has been like literally confirmed in season 2 at this point?
I want to wait. I want to find out on my own on this one.
Yeah,
All right, fair enough.
But I will say, like, I really enjoyed this. am looking forward to season 2, and I might watch it as it drops, or I might wait until the end of season 2 and then just watch it all at once because of all the other stuff we're going to be watching in the upcoming season.
I think it's just gonna be easier for me to watch it, each week it drops an episode rather than binge it.
I mean, I'm gonna keep watching it as they drop, for sure. Because I'll probably finish this the next few days and then just be caught up and keep watching.
Do it. It's really good, man. Like,
my question for you guys,
Yes.
before we end it, is like me enjoying this show. Like, does this make me enjoying this make watching other Gundam worth it?
Potentially.
I would say some of the later stuff, like Iron-Blooded Orphans, is probably along this same lines.
Okay.
Because
I do like the more like even like not necessarily adult, but like skewed that direction more so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would definitely say some of the later stuff is more skewed that way.
All right, I'm sold.
Definitely Iron-Blooded Orphans. I can't really say much about any of the other ones since I haven't seen them.
Well, this gets me on board to trying a Gundam show. Like after
I would
this.
say G Gundam is fun.
G Gundam's a campy show.
It depends on which direction the camp goes. I'll have to check it out.
How do you like Dragon Ball Z but Gundam?
I fucking love Dragon Ball Z, so
then you'll like it because the whole thing's a giant tournament.
okay. Well, I'm fucking in then. Damn, you
Also,
sold
the
me on
mech
it.
designs are the most ludicrous you'll ever see.
There is a
Literally,
windmill
those two
Gundam.
sentences sold me on more Gundam right there.
Windmill
In.
Gundam.
I'm fucking in.
Boxing Gundam.
Lumberjack Gundam.
And wait, no, the one from America is the boxer.
Yes, the lumberjacks from Canada.
I could also do another 3 episodes on Dragon Ball because I love it for many, many, many years. And
That's fair. Fair.
I'm watching Super all the way through, and I'm loving the fuck out of it.
Mm.
Did you like the movie like turned anime sections?
What I like about the show is that it's like it has a lot of fun, like Dragon Ball, and
Mhm.
fucking awesome fights like Dragon Ball Z.
Mhm.
So it's like it's
Oh.
like the best parts of each of those together, and I'm loving it.
I will say, the only thing I have severely disliked about Super has been the movie adaptations into the show, which I think they should have just probably skipped
Yeah.
because the animation quality on both of those sections were terrible.
Yeah. But other than that,
But the final tournament arc kind of feels like it lasts too long.
I haven't finished it yet. I'm still working through it.
That's
So-
fine. That's fine. Just keep in mind you're in it for a marathon once you get into that part of it.
Yeah. Well, it's something about Dragon Ball just like excites my inner child.
Mm.
Which is why when you mentioned Dragon Ball Z video games earlier, I was ready to just go nuts because god damn. Like Dragon Ball Fighters is probably one of my favorite fighting games of all time.
You should check out Dragon Ball Heroes, which is
That-
based on a Japanese arcade game that uses every continuity of Dragon Ball and shoves it into one kind of fluid story. So you have some of the villains from the movies show up. You have Super Saiyan 4 and Ultra Instinct.
Oh, dude, I would love this.
There is a game based on the Japanese arcade game on Steam that I am recently getting back into after like 2 years. But I guess that wraps up for what we want to discuss about Witch for Mercury Season 1.
Apparently, it's thumbs up all around because all of us are going to keep watching this shit.
Yeah, thank you, gentlemen, for having me too. I
Yes,
appreciate it.
yes.
Anything I can nerd out about some anime, I'm fucking down.
Yeah, and
You are welcome, sir.
And you will be back later this season for a unnamed anime that we will not spoil yet.
I'm excited for that one too.
Yes, yes. And come back
Let's
with
get to
us.
revving. That's all I'm going to say.
Come back with us next time when we have Yakuza Maids, maybe.
Oh no, that's the next one.
Yes, that is the next one,
Oh no.
and we may have a guest on that one too.
Oh, okay, that's new to me.
Yeah, yep, come back with us then, and until then, we'll catch everybody later.
Bye.
Peace.